Okay, think about the buildings all around us. Offices, homes, infrastructure.
Hmm.
What if they could, well, almost talk? Share information about how they're doing their own performance.
Yeah, that's really the big shift we're seeing, isn't it? In construction, building management.
Exactly. And it's being driven by this thing called the Internet of Things, or IoT.
Basically, a huge network connecting everything.
Yeah.
Sensors, machines, equipment, all communicating.
So today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, how IoT is actually being used right now to support businesses in construction and building.
The goal is to give you a really clear, quick understanding of the key developments, cut through the noise.
Consider this your shortcut. We'll look at smart building design, how it's changing things there.
Right. And then productivity and safety on site during the actual construction.
Yeah, big ones. Plus meeting sustainability goals, that's crucial now.
Definitely. And also the automation and maintenance side of things, how
Yeah.
IoT enables that.
And we've got an expert with us today from Digital Catapult. They're really at the forefront of figuring out this IoT tech.
It's great to be here. Yeah, Digital Catapult, we spend a lot of time exploring how technologies like IoT can really shake up industries.
And construction seems ripe for it.
Oh, absolutely. The potential, especially for efficiency, for sustainability, is pretty significant.
Okay, let's jump right in then. How is IoT changing the very first step designing the buildings? It's more than just drawing plans now, right?
Oh, completely. Architects are now thinking about buildings almost like integrated systems from day one.
Integrated systems.
Yeah, embedding sensors, controls, automation,
Hmm.
right into the initial design. It's like designing the building's nervous system along with its skeleton.
Huh. So not just planning where the walls go, but how information flows within those walls.
Exactly. And a really interesting tool here is simulation, using predicted usage patterns.
Okay, what does that mean in practice?
Well, you analyze data or anticipated data on how people might actually use the building.
Yeah.
Occupancy levels, movement patterns, when equipment might run.
Right.
And you use that to optimize things like energy use, HVAC systems, airflow, even before you start building.
Wow, so you're fine-tuning performance based on how it will be used, not just guessing?
Precisely. Designing for real-world performance from the outset.
And this term digital twin, it pops up a lot here. What exactly is that?
Okay, so think of a digital twin as a dynamic virtual copy of a physical building, a live model.
Live, as in connected.
Exactly. It's linked in real time through IoT sensors in the actual structure, so it's constantly receiving data feeds.
What's the benefit of that?
Well, it lets you run really sophisticated simulations, test how the building performs under different scenarios, identify potential issues early, optimize operations proactively.
So it's like having a test version you can constantly experiment with without touching the real thing.
That's a good way to put it. And Digital Catapult, actually, we're launching a new digital twin center up in Northern Ireland.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, specifically to explore these use cases further, especially looking at combining digital twins with immersive tech, like VR and AR.
Ah, so you could sort of walk through the data.
Potentially, yeah. Make it more intuitive. But as Ramona Marfieci, one of our principal IoT engineers, often points out, IoT is a game changer for construction, definitely. But there are challenges to sort out first. Digital twins are part of that solution path.
Right, it's powerful but not magic. Okay, that makes sense for design. Now, let's shift to the actual building site, construction itself. How's IoT helping with productivity and, importantly, safety?
Yeah, this is where you see some really tangible benefits. Drones, for instance, automated drones.
For surveying.
Exactly. They can survey large sites incredibly quickly, create super accurate geospatial maps. That data is gold for planning, for tracking progress.
Much faster than traditional methods, I imagine.
Oh, much faster, and often more detailed. It can even help spot potential hazards early on.
That's a clear win. What else?
Sensor tagging. This is becoming huge. Tagging equipment, tools, vehicles, even pallets of materials.
So you always know where everything is?
Basically, yes. Real-time location and usage tracking. Think about the improvement in coordination, optimizing the supply chain. No more hunting for that specific drill or wondering if you're low on concrete.
Yeah, that sounds like it would cut out a lot of wasted time and frustration.
Absolutely. And then there's the safety aspect, wearable IoT devices for workers.
Monitoring what? Location? Vitals?
Both, potentially. Alerting supervisors if someone enters a hazardous zone, or even monitoring vital signs in extreme conditions. Plus, sensors on heavy machinery can detect malfunctions before they cause an accident.
Proactive safety, then.
Exactly. And remote monitoring helps too. Connected cameras, site sensors, they improve security and allow for better management of work zones, especially hazardous ones.
So overall, it sounds like IoT brings a layer of transparency and control.
Yeah, transparency, automation for some tasks, definitely enhanced safety, and better integration of everything that's happening on site. It's all about that constant flow of data from connected tech.
Makes sense. Okay, so from design through construction. Now, sustainability, it's a massive focus everywhere. How does IoT fit into meeting those environmental targets in buildings?
Well, fundamentally, IoT gives you the detailed data you need to actually understand and manage a building's environmental impact.
Yeah.
You can't manage what you don't measure.
Right. So, like tracking energy use.
Precisely. Sensor networks can monitor heating, cooling, lighting consumption, room by room, minute by minute if needed. Identify where energy is being wasted.
And find leaks or inefficiencies quickly.
Exactly. Also, building systems can become self-diagnosing to some extent, identifying issues early, a faulty valve, an inefficient pump before they become major energy drains.
Leading to smoother, more efficient operations overall.
Definitely. It enables much better building management. You can track performance against specific energy targets, work toward those net zero goals much more effectively.
So the building itself becomes smarter about its own footprint.
Yes. IoT helps create these truly smart, connected buildings that can sense the environment, sense occupant needs, and automatically adjust to optimize for sustainability. They become active participants in being green.
It's a shift from just using sustainable materials to having sustainable operations.
That's a great way to put it. And initiatives like Digital Catapult, Made Smarter Industry Sustainability Accelerator, the MSISA program, that's exactly what it's about, helping companies adopt IoT and other tech to get real gains in resource and energy efficiency.
Good to hear practical programs are supporting this.
Yeah.
Okay, so the building is built, it's running sustainably. What about ongoing operation and maintenance? How does IoT change that game?
This is where you see a big shift from being reactive to being proactive. Think building automation.
Like lights turning off automatically?
Yes, but much more sophisticated. Adjusting HVAC, lighting, even security systems in real time based on actual occupancy and usage data. Lights dimming in empty areas, ventilation adjusting based on how many people are in a room.
So it's constantly optimizing based on what's actually happening.
Exactly, which leads to pretty substantial energy savings over time. The building learns and adapts.
And maintenance. You mentioned proactive.
Right, predictive maintenance. This is a huge one. Instead of fixing things when they break, or just on a fixed schedule,
You fix them before they break.
you got it.
Hmm.
By monitoring the performance and usage of critical systems, HVAC, elevators, pumps using sensors, you can detect subtle signs of wear or potential failure way in advance.
How does that help?
Well, you can schedule maintenance proactively before a catastrophic failure. That drastically reduces costly downtime, extends the life of the equipment. It just makes more sense.
So the building essentially tells you, hey, my air conditioning unit might need checking soon.
Pretty much. And remote monitoring adds another layer. Technicians can often diagnose problems, maybe even make adjustments remotely. IoT devices can trigger automatic alerts or service requests when they detect anomalies.
Streamlining the whole process.
Absolutely. And all of that data you're collecting. It provides rich analytics. You can spot trends, identify opportunities to improve performance even further, squeeze out more energy efficiency. Facilities management changes from just routine checks to a data-driven, condition-based strategy.
It sounds incredibly efficient, but you mentioned earlier Ramona Marfiovici highlighted challenges. It can't all be smooth sailing. What are the main hurdles?
No, definitely not. A really big one is interoperability, or the lack of it sometimes.
Meaning different systems not talking to each other.
Exactly. You might have sensors from one company, analytics software from another, control systems from a third. Getting them all to work together seamlessly can be, well, complex. It hinders creating truly integrated solutions.
It's like trying to build with different brands of toy bricks that don't quite fit.
That's not a bad analogy, actually.
Right.
Then there are the cybersecurity and privacy concerns. Very valid concerns.
Because you're connecting so much stuff.
Right. More connections, more data being collected. That increases the potential attack surface and raises questions about who controls the data and how it's used. These need to be tackled head-on with robust security.
Makes sense. Anything else?
Well, there's the upfront investment. Sensors, connectivity, the analytics platforms, training people with the right skills. It requires commitment.
So cost and complexity are barriers.
They can be. And that's why things like Digital Catapult's Connected Ecosystems events are important.
What are they?
They bring people together, industry folks, tech providers, researchers, to share what they're learning, tackle these challenges collaboratively, showcase solutions that are working. It's about fostering that ecosystem to make the transition smoother. Looking at the tech, yes, but also the processes, the people, the partnerships needed.
So collaboration is key to overcoming those hurdles.
Oh.
Okay, let's try and summarize then. What are the really big transformational shifts IoT is bringing here?
I think you see it across the whole building lifecycle. Design is smarter, more data-driven with things like embedded sensors and digital twins.
Right.
Construction gets automated. Tracking progress, safety, quality, materials, equipment. Much more visibility.
Okay.
Building operations become intelligent, almost self-regulating with predictive capabilities. And maintenance shifts from reactive fixing to proactive analytics-driven care, often managed remotely.
So at its core, it's about using that connectivity, that data, to fundamentally upgrade how we design, build, and manage buildings.
Exactly, making them way more efficient, more agile, and critically more sustainable. The data insights really are changing the game. And for anyone listening who wants to dive even deeper, Digital Catapult has a lot more information available in their work in this area.
This has been really insightful, a proper deep dive into how IoT is reshaping construction and buildings. It's clearly not just theory anymore, it's happening now, and the impact seems pretty profound.
Absolutely. The potential is enormous, and we're really starting to see it realized. A smarter, greener built environment is definitely on the horizon.
So a final thought maybe for you listening. With all this data flowing from connected buildings, these increasingly intelligent structures, what new jobs, what new skills, what completely new ways of interacting with our built environment might emerge in the, say, next decade? Something to think about. Definitely food for thought.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive today.